Hi, this is Terry with Flower World. We are here again this year. How did it get to be November so quickly? I have no idea. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a wonderful, beautiful greenery arrangement for outdoors that you will be amazed by at the end of it. And you'll see how simple it is, and maybe you'll want to come and make some of the containers with us. So let's start with, what do we need first? Well, you can use an empty plastic pot, you can use a ceramic pot. It doesn't really matter what you use as long as your ingredients are fresh and healthy. So the first thing we'll do is we'll take some outdoor potting soil. We're going to pour it into the pot. If you already have a pot at home from your summer flowers, let's say, and you've taken your summer flowers out by now, but you still have soil in your pot, as long as you add some fresh soil and replenish it a little bit, that will be, you can also do it that way. You don't necessarily have to get a brand new pot. You can use existing pots that you've used for other plantings. All right, so the question is, how strong am I? So we'll go about 2/3 of the way up with a good outdoor potting soil. And this is our own mix, Flower World's own mix that we do here on site. It's nice and loamy. There's actually a little bit of fertilizer in there. But if you take a look, nice brown rich, and you're probably wondering, why are we even doing this with greens that we've cut? Because it actually helps them to stay fresh longer. And you'll be amazed when you're looking at your greenery way after Christmas and you're thinking, well, that still looks good. So that's our start. Our next thing that we want to do is we'll grab some, what I like to do is I like to grab some of more of a weeping type of green to use as the base that we start with. The other thing is you want to have a nice pair of pruners. They don't have to be expensive, they just need to be sharp. So I'm going to use some of this cedar. Now you may cut a little bit of this off too as you're going, just to give you a little bit of a stem, because I would recommend that you try to get this cut branch deep into the soil. The other thing is, and I'm not going to do it right now because I don't want to make a big mess, but ideally this soil is already moist or wet. If not, make sure that when you're all done filling this up, that you water the entire pot very well, and that will help it to stay fresh longer. So I'm just going to do, or I go all the way around for starters. And the thing about these containers is, it's totally up to you how you want to make them. I'm trying to show you some basics, but after that, I want you to feel free to go ahead and use whatever suits your fancy. Fresh cuts, important, again, even though the branch has been cut. Now, very often what I'll do with my hanging baskets for summer is I'll do the same thing. I will take those hanging baskets and I'll take out the existing soil, leave a little bit in depending on how deep it is, so more of the potting soil, and then I'll do the exact same thing that I'm doing here, hang it up, and it looks beautiful for weeks and weeks. Oh, here we are, just continuing. We have, at Flower World, we have some amazingly beautiful greens for sale. Shortly, we'll have all kinds of different varieties for you to use. But you can also grab some from your own backyard. Because once you start making these, you're going to see how fun they are, how creative you can get, and they're actually a great gift. So if you have a friend you never know what to get, or a school teacher, one of your kids' teachers that you just love, these are always such a nice surprise. And the people that receive these as gifts are, again, just shocked at how long these look good and how long these stay fresh. Now, if you're going to put these inside, they're not going to last as long. You can bring them in. What I would recommend is you bring them in, but you also get them back out as soon as you can. So if you're having a dinner party and you're decorating for the holidays, you can bring it in for a while, but then if you can, get it back outside. Okay, so we've started with our base. Now we're going to start doing some of the fun, pretty, not that that's not pretty, but we're going to start adding color. And when I say color, I mean color in the way of the foliage you're choosing. And also, people come in all the time and they say, what can I put in my containers now in wintertime? There's nothing that's really colorful or hardy flower-wise. And I'll say, listen, you can do pansies, you can do mums that will last, till around Thanksgiving. You can do violas, but there isn't a lot to do in your containers that will carry you through to next late winter or spring. Your green containers will do that though. They can be your replacement. Also, if you're doing one that's going to go in a corner, maybe on your porch up against the wall, you don't have to do it, you don't have to have it full the entire way, but I'm going to make this one as if you're going to be able to see this from all sides. If you look at the color, just pops everything. So think of conifers that have blue foliage like Colorado spruces. Think about the variegated ones that we're using here, this beautiful cedar. But again, I'm just going around and around with each type that I'm using. The cut greens lend themselves to this beautifully. You can use other things. Occasionally I might throw in some laurel. This is a really fun laurel called Dragon. And what's so fun about it is most of the time laurels are solid green. This offers some great variation and variegation that you can also use. Go out in your yard, look and see what you have. You'll be able to tell. Some things won't last as long as others. The greens, again, those are probably your best bet. So I would focus on using those for the majority of the time. Here's a great little conifer called Cryptomeria. I actually use these sometimes in Halloween pot-ups just because of the way that they look. We'll just pop that in there. Got a nice long stem naturally with these guys. But the trick is to try to add all kinds of fun stuff. Don't limit yourself. We have enough green, just solid green in most of our planters and our gardens. So this just really can help to add winter interest for you. Oh, another idea are the red twig dogwoods. So here's another beautiful plant that you can also use in your pot-ups. This is a red twig dogwood. A lot of people grow these. They're super easy to grow. And the nice thing about this plant, of course, is the red stem. So even though it loses its leaves in the wintertime, it offers this red that you don't find often. You'll find it in your coral bark maples and a couple of other, the things that turn red then also drop their leaves. So burning bush, plants that have red foliage or that go from green to red, then drop all their leaves. They don't have their red stems like the red twig dogwood does. So we're going to cut that. This gives you some height. Now, if you have a huge container, a huge entry, lots of times people will actually buy a red twig dogwood. They'll plant it in the center of the pot and work around it. Again, just taking the leaves off, cutting down to the right size. So visually, we're going to end up building this up to about here, but then you've got this vertical element that just adds more interest. I'll also show you how we utilize berries, also for this same, for the color, for the effect, for the interest. And now these you could take inside and put in water. We've seen these actually root themselves in the soil too at the end of the season. Okay. So here's another one. And kind of, you know, pushing it out, making a ring, so to speak. So you don't, you're going to, again, continue to see the red through the branches. So one thing I tell people is if you're going to come and do our container class with us, you get to use all of the greens that we can provide. We have such an assortment. I mean, I have lots of trees in my yard, but I don't have near the selection that we have here at Flower World. And since we cut them and bring them in from the outside, they're incredibly fresh, and you know they haven't been sitting around. The other consideration, and it works well, it helps, is to take a water bottle and just spritz, you know, rather than you're already going to water it really well. But by spritzing the foliage, that also helps to keep it fresh longer. Another thought, battery operated lights. Unless you've got an outlet right by the pot, you can buy just, you know, $10 worth of battery operated lights and just wind those in here, and that is also really pretty. All right. Okay, so there we have, and then remember odd numbers, of course. You always try to do things in odd numbers. So we're doing 5 pieces of the red twig dogwood. This one's a little bit tall still. And as you're making this, step back from it. Look at it, you know, again, if you're going to be looking at it from all sides, you're going to want to make sure that you're balanced as you're putting it together. Some people will even use artificial snow. Everybody has a different opinion about that. On the tips of the on the foliage to add that more of that Christmassy holiday effect. This is a great, this little conifer, it's not little, but if you look at this elkhorn cypress, you can either have it on this side or that side. It doesn't matter, but I love this. And we'll have lots of this available too for you here. But this is such a cool, different, fun color, or variation of colors, I should say. Just going around. One of the reasons I like this also is it actually looks, it looks frosty. It just looks like wintertime to me and holidays. It's just such a gorgeous, this is a gorgeous plant just to have in your yard, much less using it for your greens the green container. Yeah, and that's what's fun. When we're doing the class, we're doing it where you're standing up just like this. We're helping you, we're guiding you with what you want to use. But if you look back here, we've got all of these wonderful, some of this unusual pieces that you can use, and it's whatever you want to do. Now, I also like to use some holly, although it's a little prickly. I hate using gloves. I know that's bad. So I'm going to try and do this without hurting myself. But holly also, of course, very holiday. If you can get your holly with some berries on it, even better. And I do have berries. But this will give you a little bit of height. And just, again, just a different, see how pretty that is right up next to the yellow and the red. Really, really nice. Remembering that this is also, this holly is, most of the hollies are evergreen. I just tell people to plant their hollies away from where they're going to be always walking by. But look at how fun and how pretty those are, having that extra. And also having the broadleaf is pretty. And when I say broadleaf, so we refer to the needle plants as conifers. Something like a holly we refer to as a broadleaf evergreen, just so you know. And we'll put that out facing. Now, I always like to use fun bows, which I'll show you later, but you don't have to. You don't have to add a bow if you don't want. You can make it very natural and have nothing artificial in it. No lights, no bows, no frou-frou. The fun thing is that we get customers coming in making all kinds of different, having a different theme than we've even thought of sometimes. So it's when we just have a great time talking with each other and giving suggestions too. All right, so as you can see, as I'm looking, I'm starting to slowly see it build up, coming together. One of the colors in nature that's, I think, unfortunately not common enough is the blue. Whether it's a blue flower, like a blue delphinium, using the blue in your conifers, more of that kind of icy holiday look. And this completely different looking than what we've used so far. We're going to pop that in there. Oof, bonus, pine cone. We also have some lovely pine cones that we bring in that you can also use. And I will show you those as we go. But see, look at how pretty. Just having that little extra blue right there is so pretty. Again, cutting off the pieces on the... Lots of people will ask me, well, why do conifers have the browning out of you know, why do they lose some of their needles? And it's just, that's very normal. It's shedding. You'll oftentimes see it in the center of your conifers in the winter especially, or after a long, hard summer, hot. I'm going to put one more piece in of this guy. All right. So maybe I'll put him more in the center too. So I'm going to start turning this around. This needs to be moved a little bit toward. And really any size container you want to use. You can use a little baby one. You can use huge containers and really make a huge presentation. I know that for real estate agents that are going to have a house that they're working on and they're trying to make it beautiful for the holidays while it's being shown, they'll often come in here and buy, because we make these also pre-made. They'll come and buy these, sink them into the existing container, and voila, they just add so much to the winter landscape. Another really great berry is called the beauty berry. Once people see this plant, it's just a regular green leaf, or actually, yeah, green leaf plant, little shrub. Once they see these, we sell a lot of these because they're so pretty. I try to get, I'm not going to take the time right now to get all the leaves off, but this is worthy of a centerpiece, I think. And the berries last a long time. It's surprising how long they, and that's the other thing. If during the course of, so let's say when I'm putting mine together, I usually do it right around Thanksgiving, and then I leave all my green containers out until after Valentine's Day, easily, even longer sometimes. But my point is that if you see a piece or branch that doesn't look good, just pull it out, add something else, go to your garden, come back up here, get some fresh stuff if that happens. Don't worry about it. because there's plenty to be had. And just some straight green pieces to add, again, more volume, but different, completely different than what we've used so far. Again, making a fresh cut. Tucking that in. Now see, the way I'm going to play it this time, I'm going to have it be on the other side, the opposite side, just to get you that blue that I'm always looking for. Fresh cut. I hate using gloves, but I do recommend that you do. I mean, I think it's a safer way to deal with any of the plantings. Do as I say, not as I do, as they say. One little piece of elkhorn that I got to pop in there. See how that's coming together? Now, when I look, I feel like I'm holly heavy on this side. So I'll grab, rather than take a piece out, I'm going to grab another piece. We'll put it over on this side, fresh cut. And then watering, if you water it so well that you've got the water coming out from below it, after you do that, you can check on it, but you're not going to have to water a lot, just enough to keep it moist. So we've added some more holly. I'm going to add, so in this container, I think I want to have some more spilling out. It depends on what, now if you're going to sink this into a ceramic pot, you may not need to add as much over here or on the sides, but I'm going to do it just so you can see. I mean, there's so many pieces, so many things you can use that I'm trying to show you how, and there's no hard and fast rules with this. It's really truly your piece that you're going to make, what you like. I'm shocked by some of the ones I see people doing. They're so good. I mean, they look very professional. Some of these, when they're really, really well done, they're very expensive too. So if you do your own, you'll be ahead of the game. You'll have more money to spend on presents. Cryptomeria, again, popping some in there. So, pine cones. We have lots here for sale at Flower World. If you can't find any in your garden, most of the pine cones I find in my yard are too small, and I want to make an impact. So since I work here, I can get whatever I'd like. But we do have a really wonderful selection of pine cones through the season that you can purchase and add in, because they definitely add a lot. So we're getting really close to you can add in a bow or not add in a bow. You can use a more natural approach. You can use some raffia instead of having a bow in. So I'm looking, I still might add there, but this is coming together. We're getting there on this one for sure. So this is a finished product. I feel like I could maybe add a couple of things, but I am really feeling pretty confident about this. That we have added nice and full. The symmetry is good. Let me make another suggestion. If you have any ceramic pots at home that you want to use, you can actually just take the whole thing, pop it in here, and look at that. You can change a very boring, old, worn out, tired pot from summer that needs refreshing. Add in your cut greens, your twigs, your berries, and look at what you've got. For weeks and weeks to come, you can enjoy this. And the fragrance is amazing. So if you're interested in coming to one of our classes, we're going to be starting on Friday, November 17th, which is just right around the corner. And we'll be going Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, up until I believe mid-December. Please call our office, 425-481-7565, if you'd like to sign up for one of these beautiful container classes. And we look forward to seeing you. Thanks so much.